Like, I mean, it wasn't even 60 seconds, man. I talk about that performance. I couldn't get any better than that.
Yeah, it was great, man. I couldn't have asked for a better night tonight. I could have asked for my teammates to do better and take out the absolute tournament, but man, this is something else. Competing for the Fight Pass Invitational is great, and I'm just so happy to be here.
Excellent. And I know it was called referee stoppage, but was that like a Ezekiel choke? What did you apply on there, please?
Yeah, so a lot of people are having conflicting words on what actually happened. So it was a chest asphyxiation, a chest smother. I stopped his breathing, his nose and mouth, and he tapped to that. So.
Wow, that's pretty much all I have
Yeah,
to say.
that's great.
Can you show him how you do that?
Yeah, come here.
And you looked super comfortable in there. Just lose like you were having a lot of fun. Being back here, did that help a little bit? Not necessarily hometown advantage, but you were right back where you belong. You've been on this stage before.
Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu is all that matters to me. Like, I love this sport. I dedicate so much time to getting better at this, and I'm starting to see the fruits of my labor. Like, to think 1 year ago, I was in the hospital right now, not able to move, having to ask somebody to help me use the bathroom. I woke up and I was told originally my surgery was supposed to take me out for 2 to 4 weeks. I woke up, I was supposed to be out of the sport for 8 months. And I persisted, and now December 9th was my surgery. A couple days after the 1 year anniversary of my surgery, I'm here competing on one of the biggest stages of jiu-jitsu, and not just competing on the biggest stages of jiu-jitsu, but dominating my match, winning against a very seasoned black belt world champion at only 21. And I have a lot of time ahead of me, and you guys are going to see some serious stuff.
Absolutely. And if you could elaborate on that, conquering those demons, getting past it, not doubting yourself, your support system getting back in here.
Yeah, so 1 year ago, I was in the absolute lowest place of my life. Everything went wrong. I was in the hospital with COVID. I lost more than 30 pounds. My lungs were all messed up from scar tissue. I had my knee blow up, and I needed a surgery for it. And when they had the MRI, it didn't tell the whole picture. And you guys know the thing about how I woke up. They told me it was going to be 8 months out instead of 4 weeks out. And then I just, shout out to Ways to Well. They gave me stem cells. That got me back quick. 3 days after my surgery, I was in the gym with crutches, pushing weights. I refused to be, all right, if I can't do jiu-jitsu, I'm going to do something else that's going to make me better. And that was, I put everything I had into getting better. 2 months after that, 2 months, I entered into my first jiu-jitsu tournament, and I won all submissions. And this is 2 months after a surgery that's supposed to take me out for 8 months. I was just so hard-headed. 4 months later, I competed in the biggest ADCC trials in history, and I decided to be a dumbass the last 30 seconds of a match, and I lost by a penalty. So, yeah, I'm stupid, I know. But I didn't let that stop me. A month later, I won European trials, and I competed at ADCC. 10 months after my surgery, I went from being in a place where just looking down at the ground like, man, what am I going to do? What am I going to do for 8 months? And then 10 months later, I'm competing on the biggest stage. And now 1 year later, I'm competing for the UFC. And I'm happier than I've ever been. This is amazing.
Excellent, man. Thank you for sharing that. And obviously, with just such a tremendous performance, the platform you were just on, do you want to be back in those brackets, or do you want these showcase matches where we could just...
Anything the UFC is going to throw at me, as long as it's not an MMA fight, I'm happy. I'm game. I love these events. We won the UFC Fight Pass Invitational 2. Now we won the UFC Fight Pass Invitational 3. Let's win 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Sounds good, my man. Congrats on the win.
A quick word to my people from Romania. I'm just going to say 2 sentences real quick. Bună ziua toată lumea! Eu sunt foarte bucuros să fiu românul care ia jiu-jitsu cât de departe poate. Știu că nu vorbesc așa de bine acum, dar pentru toată lumea, acasă în România, o să fiu acolo. Aș face să ne întâlnim, să ne antrenăm. Eu sunt foarte bucuros să reprezentez jiu-jitsu la ADCC, la UFC și la toate competițiile care am în viitor. Mulțumesc pentru toată lumea care se uită la mine din România.
What did you say?
Good stuff. Only good stuff.
Personal.
I know.
I didn't say nothing, but I just said thank you and to everybody from there.
I'm just curious. You're so young. Do you have any aspirations to try MMA or?
So when I first started training martial arts, I'm like, I'm gonna be the UFC heavyweight champion. And then I see Francis Ngannou, I'm like, oh shit, fuck that, you know. I don't want to get sent into oblivion. But we'll see what the future holds, right? Like if it's my duty to do everything I can in jiu-jitsu and send the sport as far as I can, run as far as I can with jiu-jitsu, then so be it. The idea of getting punched in the face isn't the most appealing to me, but it's not completely out of the question. It's just my brain's not done developing, right? I want to do it smart. Like my brain's done developing around 25. An MMA fighter who I look up to a lot is my teammate Gary Tonin. He went into MMA much later after doing everything in jiu-jitsu, and he's absolutely killing it, fighting for a world title and everything. And if I ever went into MMA, I would do it when I'm much older and my body's a little bit more developed. I've honed my skills in one of the hardest parts of martial arts, which is grappling. So it's not completely out of the question. It's not something which I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna fight MMA, but we'll see. We'll see.
Did Gary give you that advice, or are you just looking at him and kind of seeing that?
No, he didn't give me that advice. I think Gary wants me to stay the fuck away from MMA gloves. So.
Has he given you any advice?
Not
your
about
career?
MMA. They all give me a lot of good advice, but not in terms of MMA. It's not something I'm pursuing right now.
Thank you.
Of course.
Dan, it was quite the year for UFC Fight Pass and the Invitationals. How's it all feel?
It's great. It's great. I'm happy. I just want to be on the next one. Stephen Tecci, make it happen, baby.
What were the emotions like after ADCC?
It sucked. I lost. I fucked up. Man. The referee said negative man on top. I had to do something. I fucked up. I didn't Granby roll. Victor Hugo took my back. I'd love to run that back. Victor Hugo, if you're watching this, I have a lot of respect for you, a lot of respect for your team, but we definitely need to run that back, and I'm sure a lot of people would love to watch that match. Just make it happen, buddy.
Sold me. Did it feel any better that Gordon got him back later, or?
What did you say?
Did it feel any better that Gordon beat him a little bit later?
No, I should have beat him. Just because he did it doesn't mean I shouldn't have done that shit.
Right. No, for sure. Is that a rematch that you see? Do you foresee maybe next year, maybe sooner than later?
Whenever it happens, I'm game.
Awesome, man. Congrats.
Hey, back here real quick. You mentioned about that knee injury and how you were supposed to be out for 8 months. Even though you had an impressive win here tonight, do you still feel like you're even at 100% yet?
I'm at 150%, baby. No, my knee's good, man. God blessed me. I healed very quickly. Ways to Well helped me out a lot with the stem cells therapy, and I was very diligent with my physical therapy, and I'm young, and when you put your mind to something, nothing can stop you.
All right, so this is just for me because I was talking about it with a few people after. You said you were only 21 years old.
Yes, I am only 21 years old. I just turned 21 October 16th.
When did the growth spurt happen?
When I was born. When I was born. Yeah, no, I've always been big. Sixth grade, I was 6 feet tall. I'm actually the smaller than I've ever been. When I was 16, I was like 286 pounds. I was a fat fuck back then, but like I leaned out quite a bit. But yeah, I've always been big. My nickname is Big Dan. I think it's probably because John can't say my last name, but hey, it stuck. He gave it to me when I was 17, and now the biggest ages are calling me Big Dan, so I'm fine with it.
All right, thank you, Big Dan.
Of course. Gordon, thank you so much for everything you do, man. You elevate the sport to greater heights. You are paving the footsteps for young athletes like myself and everybody else who's competing in jiu-jitsu, not just on your team, but everybody who's doing it. He got me onto this. He negotiated for me. He's done so much for the sport, for the people around him, for me. I have nothing but good things to say about him. I don't like the fact that he could fuck me up, but nothing but good things to say about Gordon. If you had to say about somebody who's bringing the sport to new heights, man, there's some names that you could put out there, and if there's one name that stands out, it's Gordon. Like, look at what he's doing, man. Like, who grew the sport more? Who grew the sport more than Gordon when it comes to competitions and watching? Like, people come to tournaments to watch him. Now people are talking about it. Mo Jassim. who made ADCC that big? Like, whoever competed at ADCC 2022 was an amazing experience. It was sold out. Everybody was watching. Even people who were watching jiu-jitsu were doing it. Jiu-jitsu's on its way to be something great. Like, look, now we're on the UFC. We're on the Fight Pass. We got people like Misha Tate competing. You got the best ever in Gordon Ryan competing. This sport's only going onwards and upwards, and without him, man, like, say what you want about him. Say what you want about him. That motherfucker is making jiu-jitsu good.